All right, let's talk about one of the absolute biggest challenges every single founder faces. It's this constant balancing act between being a leader and being a manager. Seriously, it's a tightrope walk that can make or break a company. So let me just ask you this right off the bat. Think about it for a second. Are you building a soul, a real mission that people can get behind, or are you just building a process, a machine that just gets tasks done? The answer to that question says a lot about where your head is at. And look, the stakes here are huge. It turns out most startups don't fail because of a bad idea. Nope, they fail because the founder gets completely trapped, leaning way too far in one direction, unable to wear both of these hats when they need to. Okay, so if we want to avoid that trap, we've got to get crystal clear on what these two roles even are. Leadership? Management? What's the real difference? Let's dive in and break it down. First up, let's talk about leadership. This is all about the why and the where. It's the big picture stuff, right? It's not about the daily grind or the to-do lists. It's the art of painting a picture of the future that's so compelling, people can't help but want to build it with you. This is about setting that North Star that guides everybody, especially when things get messy. And we see this with the greats, don't we? Think about Jeff Bezos. It was never just about selling books. He built an entire culture around customer obsession. Or what Satya Nadella did at Microsoft. He completely rewired the company's DNA with that growth mindset. And of course, Elon Musk isn't just making cars, is he? He's rallying people around this massive existential mission. That is leadership. All right, now let's flip the coin over and look at management. If leadership is the art, management is the science. It's the how and the when. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's about taking that incredible vision and actually breaking it down into processes, metrics, and tasks so it can become a reality. A perfect example of this is early Google. You had Larry and Sergey, pure visionaries, right? They were the leaders. But they brought in Eric Schmidt as the, quote, adult supervision. He was the manager, the guy who could build the systems and the structure to actually execute on that world-changing vision at scale. So here's where it all clicks into place. Leadership is the compass, showing you where to go. Management is the clock, making sure you get there on time. Leadership is all about emotional intelligence, while management is about operational efficiency. But if you remember one thing, make it this. Leadership is about doing the right things. Management is about doing things right. That's a huge difference. So we can see how different they are. But what happens when a founder gets the balance wrong? Well, it turns out there are two very clear paths to failure. Path number one is the visionary void. This is what you get with too much leadership and not nearly enough management. The team is super inspired, sure, but they have no idea what they're supposed to be doing. You're just burning through cash, there's no product market fit, and everything is just chaos. It's a bunch of really motivated people running around in circles. And the other ditch you can fall into is the founder bottleneck. This is all manager, no leader. Here, the team is efficient, but they are totally uninspired. Micromanagement is crushing all creativity. People feel like they're just task rabbits, and pretty soon they leave. And the company? It can never, ever grow bigger than what the founder can personally oversee. Okay, enough doom and gloom. We've seen the pitfalls. So how do you actually fix this? This next part is all about making that crucial transition from being just a founder to becoming a truly scalable CEO. So what's the goal here? Well, as your company starts to scale, you should be aiming for something like a 60-40 split. That means spending about 60% of your energy on leadership, the vision, the strategy, the culture, and 40% on management, making sure the systems are working. It's a very deliberate shift away from doing everything yourself. So how do you actually get there? Here are 4 practical steps. First, you have to audit your time. Be brutally honest with yourself. Where are your hours really going? Second, you have to delegate the how. Hire great managers, and then, this is the hard part, actually trust them and get out of their way. Third, intentionally build a management layer, a structure that can run without you. And finally, codify your principles. Turn your big vision into clear rules that guide decisions, just like Amazon did, so your culture scales even when you're not in the room. Now look, making this transition from founder to CEO on your own is incredibly tough. And the analysis we looked at also points to how founders can get expert help to put these strategies into practice so they actually stick. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this core idea. The goal is to lead with a bold vision while managing with smart, efficient systems. That's the secret. That's how you scale your company without it breaking apart under pressure.
And with that philosophy in mind, the source material highlights a path for implementation, pointing to a consultant named Aadesh Navade who specializes in helping founders achieve this exact balance between leadership and management.
The information provided includes his credentials and his contact details. This source presents him as a resource for founders who are looking for some of that hands-on support to build systems for sustainable growth. And that brings us to our final thought for today, a question to really leave you with. As you get caught up in building the how, the processes, the product, the systems, just take a moment to ask yourself, who is protecting the why? Because ultimately, that's the balance that will define your company's entire future.